Hello everyone, Zelrinth here, and today it has finally been officially announced. Now we've already known about this since they gave it on the roadmap here, but Tair will be coming out next Friday for Sword of Convallaria. Now, if anyone is thinking about whether or not you should pull him, I'm going to say right off bat, right up the front, he's absolutely the biggest must pull in this game, in my opinion. Even Coco, who I would consider close to pretty much a must pull as well, I put him over her in terms of value, in terms of what he's able to give your team. So yeah, just the quick TDLR on him is yes, must pull. Definitely, if you even if you don't have a guarantee, I would throw everything you have at him until you get him, because he's just that valuable to your team. Now, the big thing with Tair is he pretty much has a little bit of everything in his kit, and he can do a lot. The big thing being he essentially has 6 skills when you use him because he has that built-in 3 historical skills within his trait, and that plus the other ones that you pull as you rank him up makes him have a lot of versatility in your teams, and that versatility in the support he supplies is quite valuable to your team. And one of the big things is pretty much any support skill he does that impacts your team heals them. So even though he's not going to be able to do massive heals like someone like Inanna, he is able to top up your team just with a little bit of heals here and there on just about everybody, especially if you do the bigger AoE heals and you keep your team quite tight together. And that kind of works really well alongside his ultimate, which is that cage bird attack, or not attack, but capability that makes it where your team members that are in close proximity are all going to mitigate their damage together. So if an enemy does a really big hit on one unit, it's now going to spread amongst all of the rest of your teammates, making it much easier to survive very tough and powerful hits to one member. And now, with that, I'm not going to go over his entire kit just because I've already done it. I'll put it in the description if you want to see my video on going over his kit. But yeah, he is going to have, he has that capability, he has the healing, he has the energy restore where he can basically give a ton of energy to your units. That's why he is extremely useful to a unit like Akambe, who is very, very energy hungry. And that's one of the reasons, like, I have not used Akambe much lately, and that's just because he is so energy hungry. I finally have his max cornucopia staff on Akambe, and then Tair is kind of the final piece needed to really get the full capabilities of his kit out. So you can pair him with Coco, Sophia, Akambe all together, and you can really be dishing out some damage with your summons with this group. Now, I could say that is one negative, is when you're kind of coming to some of those teams like Akambe's, that team wants all your best support, so it's going to want Inanna, Tair, and Coco, and it's just like, well, if you have to have 2 teams, well, then the other team, you're missing out on really having a dedicated healer unless you're willing to take someone like Angel or you have Samantha or something. But those units are just so far below in terms of value compared to these other ones that it makes it a little bit difficult on choosing who to take where. But yeah, I mean, you have that. But yeah, that's pretty much the quick and dirty on what he's capable of doing. I mean, he's got the big energy, he's got the healing, he's got the ability to mitigate damage. He has a lot of other buffs. It's so many that I pretty much can't go over all of them here. I just do it in my other video. But yeah, all the different level 1, 2, and 3 buffs and that amongst your teams. And like I said, he has a lot of versatility because his trait has those innate 3 skills already built into him. So you're not having to select to put those on his skill bar. So those just come alongside his other 3 skills that you decide to pick, whichever they may be, which is really good in a support user. And that's another reason I would call him a must pull. And this is just why I say supports in general on any gacha game I talk about are going to be must pulls. And that is because they have the most longevity in their value to a team. Someone like Tair, he can fit in any team. You throw him in any team in sort of Convallaria and he's bringing value. That's going to be the same thing with most games like Wuthering Waves, Girls Frontline, Ash Echoes, HSR, ZZZ, Wuthering Waves. I already said Wuthering Waves, but all those games, I pretty much always pull on the supports because they almost always will have value somewhere in some team. And the only reason they may not have value is because I can't fit them in the team. You can kind of see that with Sword of Convallaria to an extent. If you start getting a lot of units, hey, I want to bring these 6 units, but I'm only allowed 5 on this map. Well, that's where you have the value of, well, there's content that now is needing 2 teams a lot in some cases. And Tair is definitely a good filler in that, especially when it comes to the healing side of things, because you can pair him with someone like Coco. And now you don't need a dedicated healer because Coco and Tair by themselves can keep your team sustained. And that means you can open up bringing Inanna to your other one. And now you have two teams that are good to go with top tier healing as well as top tier support. So you don't need that dedicated person like Angel or Samantha, where pretty much all they can do is heal. They don't provide as much in terms of support itself. And so he's just another big one for your team. And then we kind of look at what's coming down the line too, and I see must pull when you're kind of planning around him. The next big one that I'm not going to say is as valuable as Tair, but is going to be close in terms of value, in terms of wanting to pull. And I'm going to advise everybody to pull when they come out, is going to be the alternate Sophia, because she is also another big support. And she actually has a lot of that healing capability mixed in with her support skills as well. But she does support a little bit differently than Tair, quite a bit in that extent. And the nice thing is, I mean, I don't think we know yet. I don't know. I haven't seen a roadmap that has after Tair. I could be mistaken. I have not dug too far into Reddit. But if they kind of go in the same order as CN, we may end up seeing alternate Sophia a couple banners down the road, which means you may have like a month or so to save up. Meaning you can blow everything on making sure you get Tair, and then I think alternate Sophia is the next big one you're going to save up for, unless you decide to like skip alternate Raliwell because you want Panama or Tristan or something. Because those to me, yes, they have their value, and yes, they are good, especially if you get their signature weapons, but they are DPS, and DPS are the easiest to skip. Same thing, like I said, with August and Sophia. They, yes, are top tier, amazing, but they are easier to skip because you can always get someone down the line that can somewhat fit their role, while getting the support that can fit Tair's role is going to be extremely hard, and I don't see anyone power creeping him or replacing him anytime soon in any of your teams, as he is pretty much the always going to be on. If I'm doing content where you only have one team, he's almost always going to be in that team, similar to Inanna being almost in every single team. But yeah, that pretty much covers most of what I had to say about him. But yeah, that pretty much covers it. Now, when he comes out next Friday, I do plan to do a stream where I'm doing my pulls, and I'm going to throw everything I have, making sure I get him. I did pretty terrible on my alternate Raiwa pulls, but I got it down to where I just barely had enough that I can pretty much now guarantee Tair, because I think it was like 27,000 to guarantee, and I'm right at that in terms of pulls. So we will be going ahead and getting him. Hopefully I don't go all the way to 180 when I'm pulling for him. We'll kind of see how it works out. But yeah, if you like my content, if you could like, comment, and subscribe, it really helps. And thanks for watching.